I'm seated on the floor here to begin with, only to be very close to you all to show you this next breath pattern. I'm going to go back into my chair in a moment when we start to move, but it's important to see this kind of close. So I'm going to sit close, but y'all are in your chairs. So just go ahead and make yourself comfortable here. Find those sitting bones and let your body just sit for a moment, bringing your shoulders up and back down. Settle your, well, no, don't settle your eyes here because you're going to look at me for a minute while we do this. So today we're doing alternate nostril breathing, which I have to say is like the most beautiful practice for stroke survivors because it balances your right and your left hemisphere in your brain. So if you're, you know, getting that brain fog or a bit scratchy up here, like I think all of us are kind of, this is a really nice, calming breath pattern to do maybe before you go to bed, maybe upon waking up where you just need a little bit of mental clarity, that sort of thing. You can Google it. It's alternate nostril breath or Nadi Shodhana. That is the Sanskrit name for it, right? And the proper hand placement for this is a mudra that is this. So we're all going to try this here. This is why I'm close here so I can show you. Your pointer finger and your middle finger come in. You're left with your thumb, your ring finger, and your pinky. And if you notice, if you take the hand here, it's almost like your nose has like space, right? And that's the intention of this breath practice, is that your nose fits here and your thumb and your ring finger are here, right? Now, I tell people all the time that if this is like tripping you up and your hand doesn't go into this placement, do your thumb and your index. That's okay, right? It's just the mudra here that is used is this. Okay, so index and middle in. Here, try it for a second just to pinch your nose here with the thumb and the ring. Yeah, really good, Billy. Really nice, right? So we're gonna hold the nose here. And if we're comfortable with this mudra, go ahead and use this. If it's tripping you up and you're not getting it, like I said, just go to the pointer and the thumb because it doesn't really matter, although kind of does, but he's ready to go. So let's try it, right? We're going to inhale here our breath and exhale just to clear the channels. Then we're going to take an inhale and we're going to hold the nose, close the mouth, hold the breath, and exhale your breath, opening your left nostril. Inhale, left. Close the left and exhale right. Inhale right. Close the right and exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. And exhale left. So now y'all get it. So you'll keep yourself here for a cycle of 5 more breaths, inhaling and exhaling. There's no right timing of doing it. You can do it very quickly. Or very slowly. We are going to stay with it, like I said, for another cycle of 5 or 6 breaths. Just noticing how kind of immediately it takes you down, right? You might notice that already, you might not. This might be one of my favorite breath practices to do, to ease anxiety, calm the mind. And just generally relax, right? It's nice. It's a nice one to take with you in the car or in your bed when you're nervous, when you can't sleep, or anxiety is starting to get you really amped up. Remember that you have this right in your hand, right? You can go here, here, and calm, right? Once you're done, just release both hands onto your lap here. And let yourself sit with your eyes closed for just a few moments. Using a mantra today, we're going to say, just within our minds, I can ease myself with my breath. I am centered. I am grounded. I am worthy. I am whole. I can ease myself with my breath. I am grounded. I am confident. I am worthy. I am whole. Notice your breath pattern here. Just notice it. Now kind of starting the same way that we always start here. We're going to start with the head and work our way down to our feet by first taking our right ear towards our right shoulder. Taking the head to center and moving that left ear towards your left shoulder. From here, drop your chin down towards your chest and roll your head to the other side. And roll it back. Creating a gentle movement here for your head, for your neck that feels comfortable, easeful. Notice your breath. And if you want to, take it all the way around, right? You can make that full circle. You can take a hand to the neck and massage. Breathing life and breath all into your body. And at some point, switch your direction. Practicing balance. Now, the next time you come through center, let your chin just rest at the center of your chest and let your gaze just be down at your knees. Breathe your breath into your back, your side ribs. We'll find our first pose here by finding child's pose. I kind of like to start the class with a nice rest. And I promise you that as you see these classes go on, yoga is really not that complicated. We're just going to keep doing the same things kind of over and over again in slightly different ways. And you'll be like, oh, okay, I see where she's going now with this. It's not really that overwhelming, right? Or it doesn't have to be that overwhelming. But by taking your hands into your chest here, you're going to hold here best as you can. And inhale, come forward onto the knees, looking down at your feet, spending just a few seconds here on your own alignment. So this is a really good time to notice, are you favoring one side? There's more weight on your right foot than your left foot. Bring your attention in and just notice what you notice without judging it. Finding maybe 2 or 3 big deep breaths here. Resting the eyes or softening the gaze at the floor. And now we want to feel our core engage here a bit. So what you'll do is you'll inhale as the head comes forward. And bring yourself back up from your core, right? Let your arms just settle here, wherever they are. If one is contracted more, you're just holding here. And we're going to find a little bit of space through the side arm and the armpit, right? So you might start to do this up and down. You may be past that point and you may want to do a bit side to side and come all the way up and around. But wherever you are today in your practice is where you are, honoring yourself, your body, and what it's offering you today. You can even like switch it up and do a little bit of both. Up, downs, all around, even like a figure 8. Really nice way to loosen the shoulders here. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful. And just because child's pose is so good, we're going to let ourselves come back to center and find another one. Exhaling the breath here, kind of like you're hugging in, you're pushing breath out the diaphragm, out the belly, and then on that fresh inhale, you're up and then down. You may even scoot your butt back a bit on this one, creating a bit more space here between the torso and the legs. Remember, every yoga pose kind of has that yin and yang component, right? That push and that pull, that grounding and that rising. So you're feeling pulling back while coming forward. And just allowing your body to rest. Finding that breath, like I said, in your back, in your side ribs. Your gaze here is neither forward nor down. It's just neutral. It means there's no crease in the back of the neck really at all. And then again, coming out of it by sending the head forward, feeling your core start to engage, kind of right around your bottom ribs. And then bringing yourself up with control from pressing into your feet. Coming back here, we're gonna come into prayer pose with the hands. So we'll take our time here, either coming like a fist with one hand over, or completely interlocking, or completely extending the fingers. If you have that capability and you can extend all of your fingers, touching palms together. We'll rest here for a moment. Pressing the palms together here. Raise your elbows a little bit. And feel a little bit of heat from your hands, right? Like they're sweating kind of a bit, pressing together. Or holding one hand and pressing the other against it. Now we're gonna stir the pot. So you might imagine that you've got something really yummy right in front of you. Stirring the pot generally means starting trouble a bit, but that's okay. We're gonna do it, right? We're gonna come around and back through to the heart. And your circles may be very small here, or they might be very big, reaching out and coming around and back. Using the breath to move you, right? It's not you moving, it's your breath guiding. And go the other way. Letting yourself come back to center here. We'll find our eagle pose by bringing that forearms towards each other here and holding at that 90-degree angle, kind of right at the shoulders. Exhale and round yourself down, giving your back a nice opportunity to stretch here, letting out like a exhale, kind of like you're blowing out birthday candles. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and come up for a second round of eagle, holding the arms up wherever you are. Now remember, you can take this farther by raising a leg and holding. Lowering the leg down and rounding forward. Let your back relax. Let your breath blow out. And we'll do our third and final round here. Inhaling, coming up, holding, and raising that opposite foot, or just staying right at the chest like your eagle might be more here, holding and breathing. That's the beauty of yoga, is that each and every one of us doing a pose is going to be different. And that's kind of the point, right? It's not about conformity. It's not about, let's all look the same, do the same thing. It's just about honoring you, yourself. Today, knowing that next week when we do this, it might be totally different. And that's all right. We're open to life moving through us and letting your body come down and round forward, letting that breath be heavy, blowing out. Lifting the head forward, bringing the hands kind of into the heart here, locking in here. Breathing. I'm going to stay here for just a second longer, finding little movements coming straight up and down. Really good for the triceps and the arms, right? You're just coming up and down. Trying, if you can, to keep the shoulders from moving, or not the shoulders, the elbows from moving outside the bounds of the shoulders, right? So often we come up and we're very wide, right? And that is okay, but if you can, be mindful here of drawing the forearms in. That might restrict your movement a bit more, but what you're going to find is a deeper stretch coming up and down. It's almost like you're greasing the gears, right? You're warming the shoulders. You don't even have to move that far to do this. You can come to like forehead height and then down. If you can go further, you can go further and potentially reach all the way up and then down. Again, drawing those elbows in. Letting the hands just rest at the heart here. Yoga is so subtle, sometimes we don't even feel like we're doing anything. Or we might ask ourselves, why am I doing this? This isn't really gonna help. But that's yoga, right? The subtlety of movement. Finding that place where effort meets ease. Releasing our hands onto our lap here. We'll spend a moment doing some cat-cow, and I think today we'll do it with a little bit of a wider stance with our feet. So if you're here and you're in the bounds of the body, that's kind of one thing that I always emphasize, is that your knees and your elbows don't leave the bounds of your body, right? So you're in line with the hips, your elbows are in line with the shoulders, everything is in alignment here. But today we're gonna widen out the feet a little bit, give ourselves a little more room here to play, so to speak, with our cat-cow. Exhaling your breath completely. Let yourself sit. And we'll begin by sending the head forward on our next inhale, letting the belly come forward into the in between the legs. Now the hands and arms are going to be kind of up to you what you do with it. Your hands can stay here. They can go here. As your belly comes forward like this, your elbows can be wide. Like I said, this is contrary to a lot of what I say. But today we're going to let ourselves take up space and be a little more wide than maybe normally. Inhaling as that back arches, sending the chin forward, and beginning your exhale by rounding in and pressing back. Then doing it again. Inhale forward, lift the head, lift the heart, arch the back, maybe even smile. Exhale, round in, and a nice thing to do on your round is to take your arms in between your legs, and you could even hold on to like the chair seat as you move back, and then forward, and back. We'll do 2 more of these. Forward, and back. And last one, forward and back. Maybe spending a little time wiggling into the shoulders or shimmying the shoulders a bit, side to side, getting your breath really trickling all the way into your crevices, all these little spaces right here. And then coming forward into just a neutral spine. Comfortable seat. We're going to walk our feet all the way together, or at least as far as what's comfortable for you to come together, right? And we're going to hip hinge. So it's almost as if, well, actually, let's do this. Let's take our hands onto our pelvis, almost as if our hands are weighted and our weights are pressing our pelvis down into the earth, right? Then you're coming forward with the chest, and then back, and forward, and back. Get a nice little rhythm going with yourself. Forward. Every time you come forward, you might come a little farther forward, right? You might let your arms drop down to your side body and start to bring the body down, possibly releasing the head, letting your body just kind of curl up into itself. Finding our halfway lift here, we're going to bring our hands onto our shins and look forward, flattening out the back, pressing into the feet, lengthening the spine, and taking a big breath in. On that exhale, lower yourself down again. Your hands might reach the floor, they might not. They might rest on the feet or rest on the shins or the ankles, or you could even reach around the legs and grab hold of like the elbows. Almost like a tortoise, right? You're like going into yourself. You know, tortoises have the longest lifespan of any animal. And I believe that that is true because they can go inside themselves when they don't want to be bothered. They don't let the stress of other animals or of life get to them. They just retreat in, which is a really good quality to kind of start to cultivate. Now again, let's find our halfway lift. Coming forward onto the shins or onto the ankles or even onto the knees, lifting the chest and flattening out the back with a nice big breath in. And then exhaling, we'll take one more fold down. And if you get dizzy doing these folds, I do want to say that your fold can also be here, right? I say all the time that it's different from child's pose or from any other pose that we do, specifically the halfway lift or child's pose, because you're dropping the head. Shit. My bad. And it's on silent too, so I don't know how to not make that happen. So as I was saying, right, your halfway lift or your fold can be just simply here at the knees. And from that neutral gaze, your head drops. Again, almost like you're curling up into yourself. So you don't have to get all the way to the floor. If that head is going to give you like a bunch of rushes coming up and down, then don't do that, right? You could also explore how you feel trying it and just see. Now, wherever we are here, we're going to bring ourselves up by rounding the shoulders, pulling the spine up ever so slowly. It's so cool because it's like you restack your vertebrae, right? When you're down there and you start to come up, you go, each vertebrae stacks kind of like Jenga blocks, right? On top of each other. And then you're able to kind of sit maybe a bit taller, maybe a bit more supported. Let's just pause for a moment because it's nice to just take a little moment. Just notice, practicing that loving awareness, right? It's like we're welcoming whatever is happening without an attachment to outcome, without trying to understand it or trying to make sense of it. We're just allowing what is to be. Now today is very exciting because we're doing Warrior One standing, right? So last week we did Warrior One seated, and if anybody remembers, it was a staggered step, right? It's 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And we did that seated, and then we kind of raised the arms a bit and came up with the arms here and back. But today we're going to try it standing. So give yourself a second, and we're all going to meet standing behind our chairs. However you want to get up. You can practice getting up in a very intentional way and kind of do it maybe once or twice standing. But I'm going to turn my chair around here. And we are just going to stand behind our chairs. I have to move this back a bit. There. So your hands are going to be on your chair back, right? To start with, okay? So we're going to play with a few things today. And if anybody wants to do this seated, you can always come back into the chair, right? The chair is here. You get tired, you get dizzy, you get annoyed with whatever. Just come back and sit, right? It's always there for you. But for now, we're going to start to just march it out a little bit. So our hands are going to stay on the chair, and you're just going to put weight on the right foot and then the left foot. Begin a little march. If you can, lift the legs. But here's the thing is that you don't even have to lift the legs. All you need to do is shift weight. Shift weight. Maybe that foot is not coming up today. Maybe it will never come up or doesn't want to come up. That's okay. Just shift weight. Left, right. Left, right. Now we're going to challenge ourselves by coming away from the chair and standing in mountain pose. Arms are at your sides or somewhere by your side. And we're going to look at our feet. So we're just going to take a moment to look where our feet are. And we are going to walk our feet in as close as we're comfortable, lining our big toes up. Then looking forward. Seeing if balance is an issue here, you might keep a hand on the chair. You might close your eyes, see what that feels like. Or you might just stand in mountain. My son always tells me he feels like a mountain in this pose. So embody that strength, right? That beauty. Now you can do this with the eyes open or closed, depending on what you're working on for your own balance, but you're going to ease your head to the right. Take it back to center and ease your head to the left. And do it again, to the right. And to the left. And then back to center. Your hands are going to come onto the chair, back here, and you're going to start to step your feet back. Walk your feet back. I'm just gonna move this back a little bit because I realize my head is totally cut off. But what happens here is that we're finding a little bit of space in the arms, right? So your arms are on the chair and then your feet are going back behind you. You can go back as far as you're comfortable going, letting your head look down. And walk yourself back up to the chair back. You don't have to go very far here, right? We're gonna do it again. You might just be coming back to here. Or you could go back farther. Keep the knees really soft. Maybe even bend them a bit, like you're taking a little squat down. And then walk yourself forward. My time here. So now comes the warrior one part, standing, right? So from standing, you can either keep your hands on the chair for support or challenge your balance a bit by letting them down. But you're gonna choose to step your right foot back. Leave your left foot up in front here. And turn that back foot just slightly out. Back leg is gonna be straight. Front knee is gonna bend. So start to bend at that front knee if you can. If not, you're just shifting weight forward and back. Forward and back. If the knee bends, bend it and straighten it. And bend it and straighten it. But the knee doesn't actually have to bend, right? If that's not happening for you. It's just about shifting weight forward onto the front foot and then back onto the back foot. And forward and back. Now you can stay here and just breathe looking forward. You're grounding into that back heel. You're grounding into that front foot. If you want a bit more of a challenge, you can walk your hands from the chair back to the hips and stand. Warrior one. More of a challenge here. You can interlock at the thumbs. That just means you're like making an X with your thumbs and your palms are forward and you're gonna reach up and maybe come back a bit. I myself kind of prefer the warrior one with the hands on the hips and just kind of closing the eyes and seeing where your balance is at, seeing where you start to sway, seeing what's maybe working too hard or what's not working enough, and sending the breath there. Now, with or without using the chair, you're gonna step forward. That can be really good practice to do, right? That step forward. Back into mountain pose here. And then step the opposite foot back. Left foot is gonna go back. That heel is gonna turn out ever so slightly. And that front foot, front knee might bend. Shifting weight forward and back and forward and back. Find the expression of the pose that you want here. Now that you know where we're going, you can go to your hips. You can go arms out in front of you and lift up. You still can't see my head, but that's okay. Lift up, right? You're lifting up and then you're coming back a little bit. And wherever you are, it's your choice here if you bring your hands back to the chair or not, but that back foot is gonna step forward. Back into mountain pose. Give your whole body a little wiggle here. A little jiggle, maybe even swish yourself side to side, like you're cooling off, fanning yourself. Letting yourself come to a slow stop. We're gonna come back into our chairs. Speaker. And we will let our bodies sit now that we've done the hard work, right? Now that we've gotten all that hard work out of the way, let your body sit and let your body sit back so that it's supported by your chair back. You might be wide or you might be a bit more narrow. That's up to you, wherever you're most comfortable. We're gonna revisit our breath patterns. So whatever hand placement you wanted to do or you did before, you can try again. Index, middle in, or thumb and index out. Hands are gonna come to the nose. As you inhale here, exhale your breath through the mouth and inhale again and hold. Exhale from your left nostril. Inhale left and exhale right. Inhale right and exhale left. Inhale left and exhale right. Keep yourself there, alternating as you see fit, in and out. And releasing both hands on your lap. we're gonna reach forward here and grab onto our right knee. We might grab it from the front or we might grab it from the back and just lift it up and then place it down. Lift it up and place it down. Lift it up and place it down. One or two more like this. As the knee lifts, you're kind of flexing that foot up. And then as the knee drops, you're relaxing that foot down if you can, right? And a lot of us can do this like independently, right? But holding it and lifting is kind of the point, right? To get that relaxation through the body. And take the leg forward and set the knee down or set the heel down. Walk yourself forward on your chair here to give yourself as much space as that leg needs. Find that tall spine, that long spine, and then start to ease forward. This foot can stay flexed. Maybe that's like where it permanently is, and that's all right. Or you can drop the foot down and just kind of slide the hand down the shin. Maybe massage at the knee, breathing into your hamstring. Walking yourself up here, hinging back and sliding that foot in. Or picking it up and pulling it in, whatever is in your practice. We'll move on to the opposite leg here and hold and pump. Pump it up, pump it down. Maybe 3 or 4 times. Get your lymphatic system really flowing, get that breath moving. And then extend that leg forward. Give yourself as much room as you want on your chair. Foot flexed or down. Spine tall, long, hinge forward. Go down as far as you might want to go. And then walk it back up. Hinge yourself back up. We're gonna do one final stretch here. And then we'll relax in Shavasana. So again, if you wanna lay down somewhere at your home, you can do that. But we're gonna do pigeon pose here in the chair first. So pigeon pose is our hip opener, right? And it is ankle over the knee, right? But bear with me for a second because this may be hard for a lot of us. You notice my my right hip is way far tighter than my left hip. So you may be able to do this on one side and not the other. And if you can't access the knee at all, you're gonna cross at the ankle, right? And so what's happening here is this knee is opening. Wherever you are, the knee is going away from the body. So you may use a hand here to press away. You may be here and be using your elbow to press down, right? And you're gonna kind of like let yourself kind of sit. You want that ankle directly over the knee as opposed to like the foot here kind of like hanging out. You want to be closer in and even flex that foot back if you can. And then press down. As you press down, the pigeon starts to happen as you come forward with a puffy chest, kind of leaning in. You might bring both arms onto your shin and release your head down, or stay looking forward. Some people like to kind of lean in or lean to the other side. This is kind of like a king pigeon, big and puffy through the chest. Breathing into that hip, right? So you're opening the hip that's crossed, the leg that's crossed. Taking a few breaths here. And just starting to walk yourself out of it. Take this guy, let it close up, and bring that knee in. Now you have an opportunity to find like a really nice knee hug here. If you can get that heel onto the seat of the chair, give yourself a big hug in. Sit up nice and tall and drop the head. Relax the toes. If this is not accessible, then you're kind of just holding somewhere here, holding that chin in and letting the foot relax. You can also just give yourself a big hug here, right? Kind of like a little smile. Now, kind of like you're setting a table for dinner, right? You're gonna take this leg and you're gonna set it down. Let the foot come down, let the hips relax. Find a little teeter-totter through your sitting bones. And then we're gonna do the other side. So you're gonna take either across at the ankle, let that knee open, or across at the knee and let that knee open, right? Remember, ankle over the knee, foot flexed back. Your elbow can sit on the knee here and you can kind of press down. As the pigeon happens, you start to come forward with the chest and lift and breathe. You can drop the head down and round into it a bit. Like I said, on the other side, you can lean one direction, but lean the other direction, breathing into that left hip. This hip is far more open than my other one, if you guys notice. So your body might be like that, right? It might be off, might be way tighter on one side. That's okay. Just breathe into it here. Slightly leaning forward. Or you can be crossed at the ankle. So I want to emphasize that this is the same thing, right? If you can't get to the knee, you're still opening that knee in an effort to relax the hip and then coming forward here. Actually, the ankle is really nice, right? If you have a really tight hip, you may just want to kind of sit here, noticing your butt moving back as your chest and your heart move forward, and a little bit of slight pressure on that knee. Breathing. And then walking yourself out of it, you'll take this guy out and you'll do something with it, right? Whether you're hugging on here at the shin, or you can get that heel up on the ledge of your chair and you're giving yourself that tight squeeze, maybe dropping the head, relaxing the toes. Breathing. Beautiful, guys. Now again, kind of like you're setting that dinner table, you're gonna take this leg down and set it down next to the right. Let your body do like a nice big exhale. And you can take this time to kind of evaluate where you want to be for Shavasana. We'll take maybe like a 2-minute Shavasana today, not too long, but that's a long time to be somewhere and not be moving. So please make yourself comfortable, either lying flat, lying on your couch, lying wherever you are, or just by simply sitting back in your chair. You can even extend your legs forward. Drop your arms to your sides, or traditional Shavasana is palms facing up. If you can access that. Letting the body be still, right? I know stillness is hard. It can be very hard to keep the body still. There are some sages that say, like, if you have an itch during Shavasana, try to ignore it once. Try to ignore it twice. And on that third one, go ahead and itch it. Challenging yourself to find stillness. Your only job is to just breathe. Allow whatever thoughts are in your mind to be in your mind. Don't try to make the thoughts go away. Welcome them. Kind of like you're watching a movie. Very gently here, bring awareness back into the body. And take your hands into your heart. You can sit up if you were laying down. As we close our practice here, you might come to a nice seated position or a cross-legged position on the floor or seated on the chair, hands at the heart, eyes closed for just a second longer. Honoring yourself for what you just did, right? It's important that we take these moments and say, like, self, I'm proud of you. Good job. Taking that final audible breath, nice and big, nice and loud. Maybe moving the head around a little bit. Shaking the head, no. And yes. The divine that resides in me honors that divine within you. Namaste.